Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining the action plan again. I'm Grenville, business planning coach. And today I am with Vivekananda, the owner of NV Consulting. And he is a person who is got in-depth knowledge in finance and how to plan your finances. So today we're going to start the topic by discussing what is good financial planning. We thought let's get into the basics of financial planning and then take it from there and see how we should go forward doing this. So good evening, Vivekananda. How are you doing?
Good evening, Grenville. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. It's a pleasure having you on and thank you for sparing the time. So, what is good financial planning or what is the basics of good financial planning, Vivek?
First of all, thanks, Grenville, for having me in the show.
My pleasure.
And for the people who know me and for the people who don't know me, again, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Vivekananda, MD of NV Insurance and Financial Services. So, predominantly, our job is to empower people and to enable their dreams, actually. So, that's where we are into that platform. Okay, so coming to the topic, whatever you were speaking about planning, right? Okay. Uh, so first of all, before we get on to the main subject, we need to understand first of all what is meant by planning. Okay, many people have a doubt about what is the planning about, right? Uh, Glenn, I understand that you are basically a planning coach, right? So can you just tell me what do you mean by planning actually? What, according to your domain, what do you mean by planning?
Okay,
In short terms.
planning is more like organizing your thought process. That's all I think planning is. It's exactly what you do, but sitting down and evaluating the risks and the outcomes and making a direction on how you have to go. It's like creating the path. That's the way I look at planning.
Short, in a very colloquial language, basically we just peep into the future and we are getting ready for we are preparing our strategies to ensure that we address all the situations effectively and we come out successfully. That's the planning, basic planning about, right?
Correct.
So when we are talking about planning, we need to consider two things here. Like there's a good planning and there's a bad planning as well. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, we need to understand why we need to do a planning. Okay. And what happens when we don't plan properly or a bad planning about. Okay. So before dwelling more into this topic, first of all, we need to understand how we live our life, right? So we need to understand the circle of life first of all. Can you tell me, Glenn, what would be a longevity of a person today, and what was it like 20 years back? Any guesses?
Okay, I would say maybe 10-20% has reduced as percentage of the age they lived. Like they would live like close to 80 or 85 before. I would think now the average age is like 65 or 60 maybe even.
I think it's the other way,
The other
Glenn,
way?
actually. See,
Okay.
it's the other way.
Maybe that's my
Okay,
perception. I'm
see,
sorry.
30 years back, the longevity of a person was somewhere limited to like 55 to 60 to 65, not beyond that. But today, because of the advancement of in the medical field, what happens is
Okay.
People live longer. Actually, people live longer, and the more peculiar stuff here is women live longer than men. Actually,
Okay.
you know that is more a prominent factor which needs to be considered. Okay, so women live longer and men live somewhere around like 75, 76, like that. Okay, so basic longevity of a person today is somewhere around like 70 to 80. So roughly we'll take it as 80 today because we have a calculation to be done. That's the reason. Let us have a round figure of 80. So what happens is in a lifespan of 80 years, okay, let us split 80 into 4 different quadrants, right? Like what we do predominantly in first 20 years of our life, right? We spend our life in only education, playing here and there, and education,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
The next 20 years, that is between 20 and 40, that is where you get onto your first job, right? That is your either you get onto your higher studies or probably most of the people get onto their first job during between 20 and 40, right? They get onto a
Correct.
first job, they probably get married, they may have a first kid, they may buy a first car. So all these things happens in the second quadrant, that is between 20 to 40 years.
Great.
Now let us see the third quadrant, right? What happens between 40 to 60? This is a very, very critical time in one's life. The reason because once you touch between 40 to 60, that is when your kids will be touching their 20s, and you will
Right.
be almost touching towards 60s. You need to handle your at the middle of the seesaw where you'll be handling your children as well as you need to handle your dependents. Plus, you need to plan your retirement as well. So that's a very critical moment in your life. Okay. And the next 20 years, that is between your 60 and 80, that is the time where you will be enjoying your retirement life. That's okay. So what happens is predominantly the first 20 years in the quadrant and the last 20 years, that's the time where you're not earning, because either you're in studies or you're in your retirement stages. Okay. So out of 80, what happens is almost for 40 years, you're in a no income zone. Okay.
Right.
Now let us come to the next 40 years. Okay. Now, next question I'm going to ask you: at what age predominantly people will start planning? Because today in Indian condition, if you really see, people get reminded that they need to start saving only after the first kid.
Correct.
Agree?
True.
Okay. So by the time he has his first kid, it will be somewhere around like 35.
Yeah.
So out of 40 years of earning capacity, he lost his 15 years almost there itself.
True.
So he has only 25 solid years to take care of the entire life of 80 years, right? He need to take care of his kids. He need to take care of himself. He need to take care of his dependents. Also, he has to take care of his retirement life as well. Okay.
Correct.
Now we need to understand how is that he is going to plan this 25 years. That is more critical.
Right.
Okay. So this is where actually we stand today, and we also need to understand what kind of risks a person can undergo at this point of time. Okay. There are 4 major risks which anybody will go through. The first thing is, what will happen if I don't reach 60? That is the first risk, right?
True.
Okay. The second risk is, what is that I'm alive till 60, but I'm not in the capacity to earn money. That is the second risk.
True.
Third risk is, okay, I'm living too long for more than 75 years. I need to know how much I need to save money. Only when I start saving money, only I'll be able to handle my retirement effectively. Okay. So these are all, there are risks which are under your control and there are risks which are not under your control.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are many things which is coming on into play here right now. Okay. I'm talking about a lot of risks here. Okay. So a basic breadwinner of the family need to understand how to handle risk. Okay. So now the most important parameter which comes in here is, how do you manage your risks? Okay. Now, if you have some idea about how to handle, first of all, let us understand what is a risk. Okay. Risk is something, it's an uncertainty which we have not planned for. Okay. Now we need to find an appropriate response whenever we get into risk, right? Okay.
Right.
So how do we handle risk? Any thoughts, any thought process, Grenville? How do we handle this?
I think that there are a few ways of doing it.
There are basically 4 responses. Predominantly, there are only 4 responses for any kind of risks. Any guesses?
One is, I think, proactively. You can proactively approach a risk. Of course, you can reactively have a risk, then you react to it. The third is ignore it, I would assume. And the fourth, I can't guess. So you'll have to take me to the, if I'm right in the first 3 first, you'll have to tell me the fourth one as well.
Okay. Okay. So now we are talking about only the negative risks. We are not talking about the positive risks. Positive risks are going to enhance your life. Okay. We are not going to talk about that. We are going to talk about only the negative risks.
Right.
So there are 4 ways you can respond to a risk. Okay. One is that you can accept a risk.
Right.
Okay. You can accept a risk. Second thing is, you can avoid that particular risks. Okay. Third thing is, you can reduce the impact of the risk, or you can have a mitigation plan for it.
Correct.
Fourth is, if nothing is possible, you need to transfer this risk to somebody else. Right. So this is how you handle the risk. Okay. So under what conditions we do all these responses, right? For example, I think even sometime back we had a discussion about riding a bike, right? So when you have to ride a bike to your next street or down the line, like 1 or 2 kilometers, what happens is you really don't plan stuffs here. Like just you get onto the bike and you go to the next streets, okay, without any protection, because you accept the risk, because you are very sure that nothing is going to happen. Even if something happens, it will be within your limits. So that's how you accept that risk. Okay. Now there is another risk where if somebody is asking you to jump from a top hill, I don't think so you will be jumping off without any proper
protective gear,
gloves or parachute or whatever it is. Correct. Right? So probably what happens is you avoid that kind of risk. Okay.
Right.
And there is another risk, like for example, you're riding a bicycle from here to Pondicherry or say Bangalore. So what do you do basically? We buy a lot of gloves, we wear a helmet, we wear. So what happens is we are mitigating here. If something happens on the way, still I'm protected because I'm having a helmet, I'm having my gloves, I'm having everything in place. Okay, that's how you reduce the impact of that risk. Okay.
Correct.
Now there is another risk. If something happens to the life of the person who's riding it, okay, the impact what the family is going to face, can it be replaceable? Can we replace it?
Absolutely not.
That is where that risk needs to be transferred, because it is not in your control or it is not in your dependent's control. You need to transfer that risk to somebody else, because this is where the human life comes into picture. Okay. Glenn, can you let me know what is the value of your car?
Depreciation will be about 3 lakhs.
How much is your t-shirt?
T-shirt like 500, 600 rupees.
For everything, there is a price, right?
Yeah.
Definitely, each and every item today, material item, whatever we have a price for that. Now, can you tell me what is the price of a human life?
And there is no value for a human life. That is for sure.
There is a price. There is a price for a human life, which we don't know actually.
Okay.
There is. Now, let us take a small example, right? If somebody is earning 1 lakh rupees, for example, per month he is earning 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Now let us calculate the human life value for him. Okay. If a person is earning 1 lakh per year, his earning will be 12 lakhs.
Correct.
Right. Now multiply that into 15. It will be 1 crore 80 lakh rupees.
Correct.
That is the value of that human being, because he is the guy who's generating money, who's bringing in income to the family, and the value of that breadwinner is 1 crore 80 lakh rupees. Now tell me, okay, a bike which is costing you only 80,000 rupees, you go and do a protection for it.
Correct.
And for your car which is only worth 3 lakhs, you go and protect it. Now tell me, a breadwinner who is there in your family, okay, he is worth 1 crore 80 lakh rupees. What will you do for him? Don't you feel that he is precious?
True. Very true.
Very precious, right? A 40 lakh diamond, you keep it in a locker with all kinds of 10 different locks, you will be in a locker and you keep it very safe, right? Now, he is multiple times, multifold, he is much more precious than your diamond. Okay.
Yeah.
So now the housewives in the family, they really need to understand what is the kind of gem they are handling in day-to-day life. Your husband is a gem. I'm telling you, he is a golden laying egg, and so you need to take care of that person properly. So now I would request all the housewives at home who are dependent on a breadwinner, you need to push your spouse to get insured. They need to get protected. Okay. Now, so now after understanding the value of a human life, then only everything will start. Okay.
Correct.
So now we'll talk about, we'll come back to the planning part, what we are talking about, right? Now we understood what is the value of human life. Okay.
Right.
And we also understood what are the different kinds of risk and how do we handle risk, right? So we have talked about those stuffs. Now we need to also understand there is another part known as income sensitivity. Okay, how sensitivity is your income? Okay, whether it is directly related to the physical presence of the breadwinner or not.
Okay.
See, there are two types of income, right? One is the active income and second is the passive income.
Passive income, yes.
Now, if the income is directly dependent on the physical presence of your breadwinner, then you are into an active income. Because if that person is not going to be there, the income is lost to the family.
Correct.
Okay. Now let us take the second example where there is a passive income. Even if there is a presence or non-presence of the breadwinner, still the family can withstand and they can continue with the same lifestyle. Then it means that they have a very strong passive income. Okay. Now
Correct.
you need to analyze as a family whether your income is sensitivity to the active income or passive income. How sensitivity is your income is, first of all.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the first parameter you need to consider. Okay. Now, coming to the bad planning. Okay, now we know there are a lot of life events which we have talked about, right? What happens at 20 years, what happens at 40 years, what happens at 60 years. We have talked about multiple life events. Okay, so what happens is, if you don't plan properly, if you don't start saving money properly at the right point of time, what happens is you may not be able to fund your child's education. You may not be able to live your lifestyle whatever you have planned for. Okay, then in case, assume that if there are any illnesses within your family or for the breadwinner itself, you will not be able to sustain with your current lifestyle, because your lifestyle will drop very steeply. Okay, then of course, when you realize the value of saving at the age of 40, 50, it means that you have not properly saved for your retirement as well. Okay, then what happens is, again, your retirement life will be much more stressful, and it will be much more frustrating as well. So when you don't do things at the right point of time, you will mess up with your life. And this is only one life. You can see, once you hit 50, you cannot come back to 20, right?
Correct.
You cannot correct everything. Once it's gone, is gone. So what my sincere request is, please take time for your life. This is your life. Plan accordingly. Ensure that you are meeting a proper financial advisor in your life. Don't plan by yourself. Okay, because that's may not be your domain at all. You may be very strong in the software or maybe in your business, but you may not be strong in a financial planning. So always take the advice of a financial planner and do a proper good planning. Okay, so this would be my first advice to the members who are watching this actually. So now, as I said, my job is to create an awareness and empower people to do a proper or a good financial planning. Okay, now let us talk about what is meant by good financial planning now. Okay, so to understand the good financial planning, we also need to understand the financial pyramid. Okay, so the thumb rule is, yeah, I mean, most of them know what is a pyramid is. Okay, we have a strong base and it goes to the pointed one. So that's the pyramid is. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand what is the base of the pyramid. Okay, so Grenul, can you tell me what is the basic necessity of a human being?
Food and house and safety.
Food, clothing, and shelter. These are the three basic needs of.
Correct.
These are the three basic needs of a nesting. Okay. Now, before even going further, okay, a person with a common sense, what he will do? First of all, you need to ensure that these three are being received for the family and for himself consistently. That's the first lookout, right?
Correct.
First of all, you need to protect his. Now, tell me, how is that he's going to get his clothing, food, and shelter?
By earning.
He's going to get it only by earning. Okay, so income is the primary factor here. Okay, so first of all, you need to ensure that how is that he's going to protect his income first of all.
Okay,
that's the primary thing which you need to look out for. First of all, protect yourself and protect what are the basic needs available or needed for your lifestyle. That's the first step. Okay.
So is that what you're saying?
First of all, you need to protect your risk. Okay. Yep. Today, whatever I've come across many people, okay, they are least bothered about to protect themselves.
True.
Okay, they want to invest money immediately where they are getting 15%, 20%, 25%. Straight away, they will go to the topmost pyramid point. Okay, but they will forget about the protection. So my first request is, first of all, take care of your basic needs properly. Ensure that your life is first of all protected. Okay, first is life protection. Second thing is, okay, now we are alive. We need to take care of our health, right? Okay, right. So what and money. Okay, if somebody gets hospitalized today, and you know that the kind of hospital expenses are skyrocketing today, right?
True.
Earlier, probably in 80s or 90s, probably it was costing somewhere around like 10 to 15,000 rupees. Now for the same treatment today, it is going to cost you more than like 1.5 to 2 lakhs.
True.
Okay, and if it's going to be a critical illness, it's going to touch probably like 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs also. There are cases where the bills will be touching even 70 lakhs, 80 lakhs also in case of organ replacements and all. Okay.
Right.
So you need to take care of your health. Okay. Now you have struggled a lot. You are earning a lot of money, and do you want your money to go to these medical bills or for the hospitalization? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's worth enough that, right? Okay. So you need to protect against all your illnesses or health related ailments. Okay. So
Okay.
again, you need to protect yourself. First thing is you are protecting your life. That is your income. Second thing is you are protecting your health. Okay. Then there are other two risks which are very important, which is not in your control. Okay. At any point of time, anybody can meet with an accident. There is no guarantee. Even a person who's walking on a footpath will meet with an accident because it's not in your control. So you need to protect yourself from any kind of accidents as well. Okay. Now, out of accident, there are two possibilities, right? One possibility is maybe the person may expire. There is another possibility, person will be alive with a disability. Right. In both the cases, your income is lost.
Correct.
And what will happen to your dependents? So you need to protect yourself for accidents as well. Okay. Then the fourth comes your critical illness. Okay. It can be your kidney failure, it can be your heart failure, or it can be any kind of failures within this thing, or it can be even a cancer. Okay. So you need to protect against all this kind of illness. And today nobody can guarantee. And because of the kind of lifestyle we are living today, heart attacks are just like that coming at the age of 35, 40 itself. And there are cases where people are suffering from cancer at the young age itself. So all these parameters are going to affect your income. If it affects your income, it means your basic necessity will be compromised. Your lifestyle will be compromised. Okay. So first of all, ensure that you are protecting all these areas. So that is the first layer of protection. Okay. Now you are rest assured that I'm protected for life, protected for health as well as for all kinds of illness and accidents. Now the second step is, okay, you need to start saving money for your next level. Okay. You need to start investing your money where there is a risk-free growth. Because it's an hard-earned money, you need to invest in an instrument where it is risk-free. Because this is where the savings coming to picture. Because first of all, you need to understand, you need to have a proper cash flow. Unless until you don't have a proper cash flow, you will not be able to save. Okay. To have a proper cash flow, you need to do proper budgeting at home. So ask yourself whether you are really doing a budget at home. Okay, whether you are spending the money, whatever you are getting, for the right kind of wants and needs. Okay. Next thing is that there is a thumb rule. Your income should be double than your expenses. Okay. If your income should be double your expenses, if anything less than that, then you are in a danger zone. Either you need to minimize your expenses or you need to find ways to increase your income. Okay. Increase the income. Okay. Now, with the available money, my first preference would be you get an income, allocate some money for your saving, the rest you start put it for expenditures. Okay. Right. It should not be the other way, right? You spend everything and then you should not start saving what is the leftovers, right? It should be the other way, right? True. The other way. Okay. So the money, whatever you're saving, okay, that should get into an instrument where you're going to get guaranteed returns. Okay. Because can you take a compromise on your child's education, Grenville?
Absolutely.
Can you compromise?
Absolutely.
You cannot compromise on your retirement life. You cannot compromise on your health. Okay. Right. So in all these life stage events, you need some determined money for your education, for your child's marriage, or for your retirement as well. Okay. You cannot put it in such an instrument where you are not very sure whether you're going to get the returns at all. Right. Okay. So that's the reason I'm saying that after protection, the second layer would be risk-free. Okay. You need to invest in a plan where the returns are guaranteed. Okay. Then you can get onto mutual fund, then you can get onto stocks, gold, then you can do all kinds of speculation, you can get onto gambling, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So in the financial pyramid, the first three layers are very, very important, right? The first is protection, then the risk-free growth, then you can look for higher growth, like investing in mutual funds. Then probably you can do whatever you want. You can go for gold, purchase house, double houses, triple houses. Then you can get onto gambling, blah, 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 what. But the first three layers are very, very important. Again, the most important point is directly don't jump from protection to high growth, because you are going to be at risk. Now, like for example, pandemic, right? If somebody has invested like 20 years back and you want to take the money at the time of pandemic, during pandemic, you know that the stocks fell heavily.
Very, very badly.
Now, this is it. And okay, now at this point of time, if he wants to withdraw money, whatever he has invested would have taken a big toss.
Yes.
So that's the reason my request would be, first ensure that there is a minimum guarantee. Okay. Then the extra money, whatever you have, you can start planning to invest in mutual funds. Then the other high growth instruments you can plan for. So as per good planning, you need to stick to this pyramid structure. Okay. If you stick to this pyramid structure and plan your financial goals, I'm sure you'll be able to lead your life very peacefully and very happily.
That was really great, Vivek. I think you put it very simply. I mean, it sounds pretty simple, but there is so much depth in what you actually said. Because to be fair, what you're saying to do is not as easy as it sounds, right? Risk management itself takes years and takes a lot of money to invest to first cover your risk. And then to talk about secured savings is again a huge amount of money and a certain amount of time and years of your life that actually goes into doing that before you can come to, as you said, a stage where you can go and prospect and try to have a risk-based investment. So I think that's a very good eye-opener for people who are really interested in planning their financials. I mean, I always believe it is never too late to plan your finance. I mean, even if you have crossed that age of the 25 to the 40 window, I think sitting at any time in your life and reviewing where you stand, I think is very important for people to make sure that the remaining part, at least, you manage, as you said, if you come to a stage where your income is not double of your expenditure, any time in your life, you're having the same risk, right? So I think that was very valuable what you said. I really appreciate you for all the information you've given, Vivek. I mean, normally people tend to keep it to themselves and have these great paid webinars where they share all this as knowledge and charge people for it. So I think the knowledge you shared today is so valuable, and I hope people who have joined the live really gained a lot of experience and knowledge of how to handle your basics of financial planning, as well as those who are going to watch the recording. I think this would be a great source of information. I mean, for those who have known about the pyramid of financial planning, still I felt the way you said it, Vivek, in the very simplistic way of differentiating between how do you go with the risk part and how do you go with the investment part, I think is very important. I think we need to prioritize which comes first and which comes next. So thank you, Vivek. I appreciate your time. It was a very nice half an hour session. I didn't realize we ran through 30 minutes so fast because I was so engrossed listening to what you were saying that the session went very quickly and with a lot of information. So thank you for your time and thank you for sharing this great information.
Thank you, Granville. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So thanks everyone who came for this live at this late moment in the evening, and for those who are going to watch the recording of this video as well. Thank you for your continued patronage. Keep watching our FB lives as well as the recordings that go both on our YouTube and our FB channel, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and also to our FB page. We do this every Thursday. Vivek is one of our guests on these shows where we keep sharing knowledge about different aspects, and in this case, financial planning and how to manage your finance through your different stages in your life. So till next week, when I'm back with Vivekananda, take care, stay safe, and good night.